matter as such, because the clans and the religious affiliations will always be very, very strong, right? And you're saying yes, and that's true. The Constitution is the key, not so much the democracy. The Constitution that people actually pay attention to and observe. However you want to run your society, write it up in your Constitution and follow it. But have a Constitution. That's the beauty of what happened in America, that we had virtual geniuses, really. I mean, you have to admit that. I don't come from America. I come from someplace in Central Europe or someplace. My forebears. I'm sure your parents and forebears come from God knows where too. But we all come here and we come in under the Constitution. I just appointed an Italian chap to be Supreme Court potential justice. Father didn't even speak English. He's now going to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. What's his name? Alito or something. He's going to defend the Constitution. That's what he's going to be called upon to do. Does he care about the Constitution? He's from Italy. Yeah, he cares about the Constitution. He's always cared about the Constitution, apparently. Whether I agree with him or not doesn't matter. I'm sure that he cares about the Constitution. So that's what makes you an American. That you agree to the Constitution, you come under the Constitution, you obey the Constitution, you put the Constitution above your religious affiliation. Because when it comes to, push comes to shove, it's not the Pope in Rome that tells you what to do, it's the U.S. Constitution. And if you think it's the Pope in Rome, then maybe you'd better go live in Rome. Because it isn't, in America, it's the Constitution that, and it's not bin Laden that tells you what to do here, it's the Constitution. Now the Constitution may be flawed, so go change it. But the Constitution is what tells you what to do, and that's the way it works here. So I think that's good for any country. But you must see that these Arab things are very strong, and Muawiyah is hanging out the bloody shirt of Uthman because he is the representative of the Umayyad clan. Now you know who Muawiyah is. And he, demands justice for his relative. And what is he implying? Where is the justice not being done? In Medina. And who's not done it? Ali. And who may be guilty or complicit or implicitly complicit in the murder of Uthman? Ali. And that's what Muawiyah is claiming. And so that's war. So I said, Ali never wins, but he loses. He lost always to get the caliphate. When he's elected caliph, he has to fight Aisha and Abdullah ibn Umar and their group. Now, he's no sooner settled, who does he have to fight? Muawiyah and his group. The big battle occurs up in Syria. The battle is called Siffin. I think it's around 657 or 658. Let's just make it, I'm not sure what the date is. Didn't go on throughout, I'm just not sure exactly the date. Somewhere in there. It's in northern Syria. The two armies are there. Now, the victors write the history, let's face it. The defeated don't get to write the history usually, except in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I work on. There, the defeated wrote the history and stuck it in caves, and now we have to deal with it. So, in fact, in things like the Dead Sea Scrolls, the defeated do get a chance to actually write the history. So this is Siffin. And according to the historians, I don't believe them, but this is what they say. Ali was just upon the point of winning after 6 days of struggle and battle. But at that point, Muawiyah, guided by the old fox, the servitor of the Umayyad family, sort of like Brent Scowcroft, for instance, or James Baker, or servitors of the Bush family, always pop up whenever you don't want them to be, meddling in the affairs of state and other places behind the scenes. When Junior is doing bad, they take him to the woodshed and then give him a spanking for the dad. In any case, these servitors of the family, Amr ibn al-As pops up. The old fox, the one who got Egypt, who disobeyed Omar back then and went into Egypt. He was governor of Egypt and got rich from the corruption there. Now he's Muawiyah's advisor at the Battle of Siffin. And whether whoever comes up with the idea, here are these people who are lukewarm Muslims, the last people to come into Islam, people who were never supporters of the Prophet, people who fought against the Prophet. The story goes they put Korans on their lances and came out to the battlefield. All romantic history. What's the symbolism of that? The symbolism of that is that they're asking for arbitration according to the Quran. In other words, they're going to pious Muslims and saying, we want this adjudicated on the basis of the Quran, which is ludicrous for a really believing Muslim to entertain, because these are bad Muslims to begin with. But here's where Ali's nobility, according to the histories and the stories, take him or make him fall into a trap. Because Ali is such a paragon of virtue, so perfect, so good, so decent, that once he sees the Quran on the lances, he can do nothing but agree to arbitration, even though if he had continued the battle, according to the historians, he would have won. Now, again, I don't know if that's true history, or if that's pro-Ali propaganda. But that's the story that has come down through the Muslim historians, that Ali was so good that he agreed to this. Now, maybe the battle was a stalemate. Maybe, in fact, they didn't, one side wasn't, they were just wearing each other out, and then they decided to arbitrate on the basis of the Quran. But according to the historians, they all tricked off that they were about to lose, and then that's when they wanted the Quran. And once they made the Quran the issue of the problem, then Ali had to agree. So the battle ceases, and both parties agree to arbitration. Now here's the next thing that shows Ali's fairness but stupidness, according to the observers, the decency, nobility, but lack of self-interest. Ali appoints a neutral. It's like appointing someone to the Supreme Court now. You know, who are you going to appoint to the Supreme Court? Ali appoints a neutral person to represent him at the arbitration. I don't know the person's name. Muawiyah, guess who Muawiyah appoints? Amr ibn al-As. So Muawiyah does not appoint a neutral person, but his old fox, his old advisor. And Amr is going to sort this thing out to Muawiyah's advantage. The arbitration doesn't take place till the next year. It's, I don't know, 658 or 659, I'm not sure exactly the dates there. And it takes place in Jericho. But before the arbitration takes place,